Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we are in Canto 1, Chapter 7, discussing the son of Dronapanished. Last time we were hearing how the sages in Naimisaranya wanted to hear about the birth and activities of Maharaj Parikshit, because when we discuss about the birth and activities of Maharaj Parikshit, that gives rise to the topics of discussion about Krishna. Therefore, they wanted to hear, and in that connection, we had heard how Ashwatthama, after killing the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi, he fled out of fear of his life. And then finally, Arjuna followed him, and while going, Ashwatthama could see Arjuna is following him. Then he released Brahmastra, and Krishna, upon seeing the radiance of the Brahmastra, which was scorching the 3 planets, he turned towards Krishna. So this is the indication, or you can say this is how a pure devotee of the Lord never tries to find a solution of his problem on his own. Rather, he always takes shelter of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So in that way, Arjuna, upon seeing the imminent danger, he turned towards Krishna and he started offering his prayers to Krishna. And initially, starting from text number 22 until 25, Arjuna, he describes the transcendental qualities of Krishna. This is an important point we need to take a note on, that when somebody goes to a highly respected personality, he does not just go there and immediately submits his request. Rather, he would first glorify the personality. So in this connection, Arjuna, when he is going to Krishna for his advice, first of all, he is going to describe the transcendental qualities of Krishna. How does he describe? Arjuna Vacha Krishna Krishna Mahabahu Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvam Eko Daihamananam Apavargoshi Sangsite. He addressing Krishna, Krishna, Mahava. Krishna had been addressed by Arjuna as Mahava, who is the Almighty God. Means Krishna gives shelter and protection to all. And Bhaktanam Abhayankara. Particularly, Krishna gives shelter, or you can say he eradicates the fear from his devotees. Therefore, he is saying, Tvam ekadaihamananam apavargashi sangsite. There are people in this world who are constantly being afflicted by the threefold miseries of this material world. But who can eradicate their afflictions? Krishna. Why? Apavargosi. Tvam apavargosi. Krishna is saying, you actually cause the apavarga. Apavarga means dharma, artha, kama, moksha. These 4 aims or goals of human life is fulfilled by Krishna himself. Arjuna, he knows this very clearly. Krishna cannot be taken as an ordinary personality in the world. Therefore, he is saying that, my dear Krishna, please guide me. And then he is saying the next, because he is saying Krishna eradicates the miseries of the people in this material world. And Krishna show the path of liberation. Therefore, in the next verse, Arjuna, he describes the further transcendental qualities of Krishna, saying, Krishna, Tvamadhyah Purusah Sakshat Ishwarah Prakriti Parah Mayam Vidasya Chitshaktya Kaivalya Sthita Atmani. So here he is describing Krishna as the Adi Purusha. How Krishna can eradicate the afflictions? Because he is Sakshat Ishvara. He is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How to describe Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Prakriti Parapurusha. He is the transcendental personality of Godhead. Means all the living entities in this world, even though the human being, they are looking, their form is like that of Krishna, but they are not beyond the miseries of this world. Why Krishna is Prakriti Para? Because Adya Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. Karanatve api avikarita maha Mayam Vidasya Abhibhuya Kaivalya Rupa Atmani Eva Sthita. Actually, Krishna, who is the cause of all causes, even the Krishna is the cause of this material world, and this material world is tormenting the conditioned souls, but Krishna is always situated in his eternal bliss and transcendental knowledge, in his glory. Therefore, Maya Vidasya Saktya, he cast aside the effects of the material energy by dint of Chit Shakti. What is Chit Shakti? Chit Shakti means Jnana Shakti, bliss and eternal knowledge. So Arjuna understands this. Therefore, he is addressing Krishna like this. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that darkness is a perverse representation of the sun, and therefore the existence of darkness depends on the existence of the sun. But in the sun proper, there is no trace of darkness, as the sun is full of light only. Similarly, the absolute personality of Godhead beyond the material existence is full of bliss. Maya Vidasya Chit Shakya. So here, when Arjuna is saying that you are Adi Purusha, you are the cause of all causes, you are the original personality of Godhead. Even though you have created this world, but Maya cannot touch you. So in that way, the example have been given that in sun proper, there is no trace of darkness. Similarly, Krishna, being the supreme Lord, he is not affected by the illusory potency of this world. Then next, Arjuna continues, Sa eva jiva lokasya maya mohita chetasa Vidhatse svena viryena sreyo dharmadi lakshanam. And yet, though you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you execute the four principles of liberation characterized by religion and so on. Dharma, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation, moksha. And so on, for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. Therefore, next, finally, he says, so here, Siddhar Swami, he writes, Trivarga tapi tvam eva iti aha saiti. So in this verse, Krishna have been defined as the Trivarga Data, means Satyam, Jatvam, Maya Abhibhuya Sthita, Sa eva Maya Vibhutasya Janasya Dharmadi Phalam Upasita San Vidatse Virjana Prabhaya. Krishna, by his influence, by his own potency, he gives the result of dharma, artha, kama to the living entities. That means those who come to Krishna for fulfilling their desires, Krishna fulfills their desires. Svena Viryena, by his own potency. Tathayam chavataraste bhuvo bharajihirshaya swanam chananya bhavanam anudhyanaya chasakrit. So Krishna, when Arjuna is saying, you come to this world, you descend, why? Maya tumadya purusaka Vishnu prakriti para. So he is saying that here you descend to this world for bhubharajihirsa, to eradicate the burden of the earth. But if Krishna says, no, I can do the same thing by my incarnation, I don't have to come personally. By my devotee, I can eradicate the burden of the earth. So therefore, now Arjuna is speaking the next line, explaining the inner reason for Krishna's appearance, confidential reason of Krishna's appearance. What is that? Swanam cha nanya bhavanam anudhyana cha sakrit. Krishna descends to this world to help his devotees meditate upon him. Means when Krishna was in Vrindavan, he performed various pastimes with his devotees. Until today, Krishna's pastimes with his devotees are the subject matter of meditation of many, many conditioned souls. By meditating upon the pastimes of Krishna, that means by understanding Krishna's dealings with his devotees, the love for Krishna is automatically awakened in such devotees. That's why he's saying, Swanam cha nanya bhavana anudhyanaya. This is a very important point Arjuna is making. Krishna's devotees are his own. Like we have in our family, our son, daughter, our father, mother, or husband and wife. They are our own people, right? We are very closely connected with them. For Krishna, his devotees are very, very dear to him. Krishna can do anything, he can go to any level to protect his devotees. Therefore, according to our Acharya's understanding, in this verse, Arjuna is speaking about Krishna being partial to his devotees. Therefore, Prabhupada, in the first line of the purport, he says, it appears that the Lord is partial to his devotees. That is a quality, good quality of Krishna. We should not, like some other people in the world, they say, oh, Krishna is not neutral. He is partial to his devotee. No, Krishna is neutral. How? Krishna has told you to also take shelter of him. Then he will also take care of you. You don't take shelter of Krishna and you find fault with him. That is not good. So anyway, here, even though Arjuna is describing Krishna is partial to his devotees, but that's a good quality. That's nice. We want to see that in Krishna. Then he continues, Kimidam Sritkuto Veti Deva Deva Nagadnyam. You see, in the first few verses from 22 to 25, first Arjuna, he glorified Krishna by speaking about his transcendental qualities. Then now in text number 26, he is submitting his prayer. He is submitting himself. What is saying? Kim idam sudkita vedi. What is this? Radiance spreading everywhere. Where did it come from? Deva Deva Navedmyam. My dear Lord, I don't understand. Where is it coming from? O Lord of Lords, how is it that the dangerous effulgence is spreading all around? Where does it come from? I don't understand it. And Prabhupada is saying, anything that is presented before the personality of Godhead should be so done after due presentation of respectful prayers. This is our my dear devotee, there is a good learning for us. Sometimes we are affected by the miseries of this world. Some people are treating us in a very erratic manner. Something happens to us in our life. Then you directly go to Krishna, and you, by going immediately, say, Krishna, why did it happen to me? Why are you not looking after me? And so many things. Krishna, can you do this for me? Krishna, can you do this for my son, my daughter, my family? Yeah, we go and directly submit. Why don't you first go and follow the Arjun's footstep? What did Arjuna say? Arjuna went there after he offered respectful prayers to Krishna. Means what does it mean, respectful prayer? Krishna is so kind, you go and glorify him through a few verses describing Krishna's merciful characteristics. Then you can pray to him. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying, anything that is presented before the personality of Godhead should be so done after due presentation of respectful prayers. That is the standard procedure. And Sri Arjuna, although an intimate friend of the Lord, is observing this method for general information. Okay. Then Sri Bhagavan was, after Krishna heard from Arjuna, he starts speaking. Vetthedam dronaputrasya brahman astram pradarsitam naivaso veda sanghara pranavadha upasthite. Lord Krishna is saying that this is Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama. He is saying pradarsitam means he does not have the knowledge of the weapon properly. He doesn't have the perfect knowledge of the weapon. Perfect knowledge of the weapon means how to exhibit the weapon and then how to retract it. He does not know, but being afraid of his life, prana vadha upasthite. Now his life is in danger. Just to safeguard himself, he has released this Brahmastra weapon. Naivaso Veda Samhara. He does not know how to retract it. Srila Prabhupada, he writes in the purport that the subtle science of chanting hymns is also material, but it has yet to be known by the modern material scientists. So these weapons like Brahmastra weapon and other weapons, Nagastra also, they are released, they are applied by the warrior by chanting the mantra. That is a subtle science. Even though it is material, but that is still subtler. Our scientists have no information about such subtle science. Subtle material science is not known by subtle material science is not spiritual, but it has a direct relationship with the spiritual method, which is still subtler. A chanter of hymns knew how to apply the weapon as well as how to retract it. So in those days, people had all this knowledge, even though this science is material, but it's subtle material science. Today, this knowledge is not known to people. Nahyasyanyatamam kinchit astram pratyavakarsanam jayastra teja unnadham mastragyo yastra tejasa. O Arjuna, only another Brahmastra can counteract this weapon. Since you are expert in the military science, subdue this weapon's glare with the power of your own weapon. Somebody may ask this question here already upon when one Brahmastra weapon is released by Ashwatthama, it is creating so much disturbance. Then why Krishna is asking Arjuna to again, apply another weapon? Because Krishna knew that Arjuna knows the signs how to retract. First of all, he can counteract the weapon and then he can retract the both. That's what Arjuna did. Sutva Bhagavata Praktam Phalguna Paravira. Arjuna have been defined as Paraviraha, the killer of the opposing warrior. He is the greatest warrior and he knows the signs. That's why after hearing the instruction from Krishna, Phalguna means Arjuna, Spristva Pastam Parikramya Brahmastram Sandadhe. First of all, he did Achaman with the water, and then he circumambulated Krishna. Then he applied the weapon, Brahmastra. This is how the system is. Sanghatyanyamo bhayo stejasi sarasamrite abhritya rodashekam cha babridhatir kavanhivat. So when Arjuna he released his Brahmastra weapon, there was the combination of the glare of both the weapons. It started spreading all over earth and in the higher planetary systems. So that means by the flame that produced between these two Brahmastra weapon, it started to cover all outer space and the whole firmament of planets. That means all the living entities, they were very much disturbed. Then at that time, people they thought that now this is the time of Praya. Sarva Samvartakam Amansata. Everybody, all praja, the humana praja sarva, all the living entities who were being tormented by the excessive glare of these two Brahmastra weapons, they felt like now it is time of devastation. So, Prajopadrava Malakshya Lokavyatikaram Chatat Matam Cha Vasudevasya Sanjahara Arjunadvayam. So when Arjuna, he saw how the general populace is undergoing the difficulties, then he at once retracted both the Brahmastra weapons as instructed by Krishna. Then, Tato asadyatara sadharunam gautami sutam bhavandhamarshatam raksha pasum rasamaya yatha. Upon retracting the glare of both the Brahmastra weapons and releasing the tormented condition of the living entities, and by eradicating the tormented condition of the living entities due to the glare of the weapons, then Arjuna, he bound Ashwatthama. How? Pasum rasanaya jatha. It has been said that the animal which is brought to the sacrificial arena is tied with a rope in a particular way. So in that way, he tied Arjuna with the rope and he, like an animal, then he brought him to the camp. Siviraya nini santam vajvabadharipum balat praharjunam prakopito bhagavanam bhujekshana. So Arjuna, by binding Ashwatthama in a rope, he is bringing towards the camp, and Krishna started speaking to Praharjuna Prakopita. Arjuna, who was very angry, Bhagavan Ambujekshana. Here Krishna has been defined as Ambujekshana. अरुणेक्षण इति अनुक्त्वा अम्बुजेक्षण इत्युक्ते बहिरेव प्रकुपिता. Krishna had been defined here as Aruneksha. Like, it looks like Krishna is also angry. And he is instructing angry Arjuna, what are you doing? You have already instructed your wife, you have already given your words to your wife. That you're going to behead this guy. Now you have caught him. Why are you delaying? Huh? This kind of a mood have been reflected by Krishna by saying Arunekshana. And here our Acharya is saying he was externally showing his anger. Why Krishna was showing anger externally? You can also ask this question. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. He got his enemy. He should immediately go into the action. But he is not doing that. Right? Why, you see. Siddhar Swami is writing, Shoko Rosadi Yuktasyapi Arjunasya Dharmanasya Khyapanayasya Krishna Vakyam Tada. Shoko Rosadi Yuktasyapi Arjunasya. Arjuna, definitely he was in grief because his sons were killed, were murdered by Ashwatthama. And of course, as a Kshatriya, he must be very angry. Right? Now, when Krishna, Ambujakshana, he started speaking to Arjuna, you will see how Krishna is playing his role here to test the dharma of a devotee. As we say, sometimes the devotees are put into test by Krishna. You see, in such a condition, how Arjuna is faced with the test produced by Krishna. What Krishna is saying? From text number 35 and 39, Lord Krishna is speaking to test the dharma of Arjuna. Okay? And dharma. What does it mean, dharma? Dharma means there are 10 symptoms of dharma. It has been said that dhriti, kshama, damo, asteya, saucham, indriya nigraha, dhira, vidya, satyama, krodha, dasakam, dharma, lakshana. What is that? Dhriti. Dhriti means tolerance, patience. Kshama means forgiveness. Then damo. Damo means self-control. Sometimes people fail to control themselves. And then asteya. Asteya means freed from committing theft. One who is freed from committing theft, he is a dharmika person. Okay. Then saucham. Saucham means he is cleanliness. Then indriya nigraha, controlling one's senses. Dhira, very grave. Vidya, he has a knowledge of the scripture. Then satyam, he is truthful. And akrodha, free from anger. Okay? Dasakam dharma lakshana. These are the 10 symptoms of religion. When you become a dharmic person, then you should have these 10 symptoms in your life. Okay? So here Krishna is going to test Arjun's dharma, means how he is becoming a religious person. We know Arjuna is a religious man. So he is going to test him. First Krishna says, Mainam partharahasi tratum brahma bandhum imam jahi yoshavanagasha suptan avadhinni sivalakan. You see, Arjuna is already angry. He is in great lamentation, having lost his sons. And now Krishna starts speaking about Arjuna. Why are you delaying? You don't know? He's not to die. He has killed your sons and you are still delaying. There is saying just like when the fire is on and you put ghee onto the fire, that will start a blaze, right? So Krishna is doing the same. Mainam Partha Hasi Pratam Brahmabandhu. He is Brahmabandhu. Imam Jahi. You must kill him immediately. Why are you delaying? Don't delay. Eh? And Josa Asau Anagasa Suptan Avadhi Nisi Balaka. Those children who were sleeping, they were killed by him. So here it is explained in Shastra that Mattam Pramattam Unmattam Suptam Balam Striyam Jadam Prasannam Viratham Bhitam Na Ripum Hanti Dharmavit. So Krishna is saying that, you see, they were sleeping. Shastra says, even if somebody is your enemy, if he is mattam, careless, pramattam, intoxicated, and unmattam, insane, then suptam, if he is sleeping, then afraid of, devoid of chariot, viratham, and then continues. Jadam, viratham, bhitam. If he being afraid, he comes and takes shelter of his enemy, then na ripum hanti dharma. One who knows the science of religion, he does not kill. But this Jaswathama, who is born in a Brahmana family, he does not follow these religious principles. So that's why he has killed your sons, then you must kill him immediately, right? So Arjuna Krishna is supporting his argument and igniting the fire in Arjuna, and he is asking him to kill Ashwatthama immediately. So prananja parapranai papushnatya ghunakha tadvadhastasya hi shreya jaddoshadyath adhapuman. So here Krishna is giving a very big statement. So prananya parapranai papushnatya ghanakha. One who sustains his life at the cost of others' life. He is a khala, agna, shameless, wretched person. And tadvadha tasya shreya. Killing such a person, such an entity, is going to bring good to him. Why? Jaddosat jati adha puma. If somebody murders someone, he will go to hell. He will suffer. So if such a murderer is killed, then he will be rescued from going to hell. Therefore, it is for his good only, my dear Arjuna, you must kill him. So Prabhupada, in this purport, he gives a very elaborate description about the people in this age of Kali who are engaged in meat eating. And they are into this murdering business. What happens to them? Prabhupada describes very nicely. I was thinking I should read the entire purport because it's a very nice purport. We all should hear it carefully. A life is just punishment for a person who cruelly and shamelessly lives at the cost of another's life. Political morality is to punish a person by a death sentence in order to save a cruel person from going to hell. That a murderer is condemned to a death sentence by the state is good for the culprit because in his next life he will not have to suffer for his act of murder. Such a death sentence for the murderer is the lowest possible punishment offered to him. And it is said in the Smriti Shastras that men who are punished by the king on the principle of a life for a life are purified of all their sins, so much so that they may be eligible to being promoted to the planets of heaven. According to Manu, the great author of civic codes and religious principles, even the killer of an animal is to be considered a murderer because animal food is never meant for the civilized man whose prime duty is to prepare himself for going back to Godhead. He says that in the act of killing an animal, there is a regular conspiracy by the party of sinners, and all of them are liable to be punished and murderers, exactly like a party of conspirators who kill a human being combinedly. He who gives permission. Now, Prabhupada is describing those who are involved in this slaughterhouse business. Actually, in today's world, people are promoting this meat eating like anything. And those who are involved into such kind of slaughterhouse business, they should be shown this purport of Srila Prabhupada because these people are ignorant. They do not know what is the consequence waiting for them. Somebody who is supplying animal to the slaughterhouse, what is his consequences? One who is killing them, one who is cooking, one who is distributing. See, 6 people are involved here. They are liable to be punished. They should be murdered. Here Prabhupada says, he who gives permission, he who kills the animal, he who sells the slaughtered animal, he who cooks the animal, he who administers distribution of the foodstuff, and at last he who eats such cooked animal food are all murderers, and all of them are liable to be punished by the law of nature. Now, no one can create a living being despite all advancement of material science, and therefore no one has the right to kill a living being by one's independent whims. For the animal creatures, the scriptures have sanctioned restricted animal sacrifices only. And such sanctions are there just to restrict the opening of slaughterhouses and not to encourage animal killing. See, this is a problem. There are some people in the society initially, in the name of the Veda, they started killing animals. Forgetting the purpose behind, they entered into slaughterhouse business. So nowadays, people feel killing animals in a slaughterhouse and eating their flesh is also a part of Vedic civilization. This is totally misconception, totally wrong understanding. And because of such a wrong understanding, the whole society is suffering today. Further, Prabhupada describes the procedure under which animal sacrifice is allowed in the scriptures is good both for the animal sacrificed and animal eaters. It is good for the animal in the sense that the sacrificed animal is at once promoted to the human form of life, after being sacrificed at the altar. And the animal eater is saved from grosser types of sins. Eating meats supplied by organized slaughterhouses, which are ghastly places for breeding all kinds of material afflictions to society, country, and the people in general. These people who do not understand that even though there is some recommendation in the Veda about animal sacrifices, but they are not meant to be killed rampant and consume the flesh. Uh, there is a proper system by which people who are in the deep darkness of ignorance can uh, satisfy their desires. But such instructions are not meant to be utilized in slaughterhouse business. And when people are into rampant animal killing in the name of Veda, Prabhupada is saying such places are the breeding place for all kinds of material afflictions, such as he describes the material world is itself a place always full of anxieties, and by encouraging animal slaughter, the whole atmosphere becomes polluted more and more by war, pestilence, famine, and many other unwanted calamities. My dear devotees, you might have heard recently there was a big attack by the Muslims to our temple in Bangladesh, and we lost our devotees. Just imagine, these people are also claiming that they are following Islam. What is Islam? What is religion? What is Dharma? People, they don't have any understanding about religious principles today. Under the name of religion, they are committing just violent acts. Violence. Dharma is not meant for creating violence. Dharma is meant for bringing peace, happiness, satisfaction in the society. But these people are doing, because they are into this rampant animal killing. Unfortunately, there are some governments in the world who are also into this business, because they are thinking by such slaughterhouse business, we can strengthen our economic condition. My dear sir, you want to strengthen your economic condition for who? You are such a foolish person. Your intelligence is totally polluted. For who you are trying to increase the economic condition in a wrong way, you don't know that you are actually inviting more and more misfortunes. With killing the cows, you can never bring happiness. We can never be able to secure your citizens to the peace and prosperity. Never it is possible. Therefore, it's a high time for us to distribute Prabhupada's books and train as many people as we can. Those who are at least in contact with us, we can talk to them, we can show them. And of course, alongside distributing books, we all should chant holy name of the Lord to increase our level of purity and pray to Krishna. Because we are just insignificant entity in this earth. What can we do? But at least if we all come together and pray to Krishna, maybe one day Krishna who will inspire them from their heart, and there might be some visible changes possible. This is such a terrible situation happening because people have taken this religious practice in a wrong way. Therefore, Prabhupada is giving such a beautiful purport that we should all learn from Prabhupada and try to apply this. That's why we are doing this class. Otherwise, what is the use of conducting such classes? Krishna continues, inspiring Arjuna, Pratisutam cha bhavata panchallai sunvato mama aharisya shirastasya jaste manini putraha. Furthermore, I have personally heard you promised Draupadi that you would bring forth the head of killer of her sons. So Krishna is saying, Arjuna, before you left, you have given your word to Draupadi that you will bring Ashwatthama's head, and Draupadi, after finishing the final rites of her sons, she will stand on Ashwatthama's head and bathe, take a bath, will take a bath. But just kill him now. Tad aso badhyatam papa atatayatma bandhuha भर्तुश्च विप्रियं वीर कृतवान् कूलपांशना. See, Krishna is saying, first of all, he killed the sleeping sons to satisfy his master. By killing the sleeping sons, he could not satisfy his master, Duryodhana, as we know. That's why he is Kulapangsana. He is bringing disgrace to his family. So he is a Atutai, unwanted element in the Brahmana society. Just kill him. Huh? You see how Krishna is speaking. Okay. Evam Sutta Goswami says, Sutta Uvach, Evam Parikshata Dharma Partha Krishnena Choditaha Naichad Dhantum Guru Sutam Jadyapyatma Hanam Maha. Arjuna have been defined as Maha. He's a great personality. Why? Because in spite of Krishna's words, Arjuna did not kill Aswatthama. Sutta Goswami said, although Krishna, who was examining Arjuna in religion, evam parikshata dharma. Krishna is speaking like this, not that he wanted Arjuna to kill Aswatthama. He was examining his dharma, okay, religion. Encouraged Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya. Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him. Although Ashwatthama was a heinous murderer of Arjun's family members. This is where you can understand the greatness of a devotee. How much he is suffering. He never tried to take revenge. He never blamed anyone. He never blames anyone. He is always established on the path of dharma. So, Prabhupada is saying in the purport, Lord Sri Krishna put to test many of his pure devotees just to magnify the sense of duty. It's a very, very important instruction for all of us, my dear devotees. Krishna would put to his devotees into test. Sometimes he will put the devotee into such a test. Devotee will feel like, oh, I cannot tolerate anymore. But here Prabhupada is saying, Krishna puts his devotee into test to magnify the sense of duty. Means, what a chaste devotee are you? How are you following all your devotional principles properly? In such a situation, Krishna wants to test your patience. That's why, to magnify the duty, Krishna will put you to such a situation. Prabhupada is saying the gopis were put to test, such tests as well. Prahlad Maharaj also was put to such a test. All pure devotees come out successful in the respective test by the Lord. Krishna is trying to test us. If we are pure, we will come out. Otherwise, we will come out successful. Otherwise, we will fail the test. Othopetya shiviram Govinda Priyasaratihi Nivedayatam Priyayai Shochantyatmajanhitan. After reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and charioteer Sri Krishna, entrusted the murder unto the dear wife who was lamenting for her murdered sons. You see how the whole episode is moving. Arjuna captured Ashwatthama. He did not kill him. He had already promised to Draupadi that I will kill and present his head to you. Now he has brought this murderer. Now Draupadi, who is lamenting for her murdered sons, Arjuna presented Ashwatthama to her. You can imagine what Draupadi should do, right? What did Draupadi do? Draupadi is not any ordinary lady. She also knows dharma. Tatha hitam pasuvat pasavaddham avang mukham karma jugupsitena. Avang mukham. Ashwatthama's head was down like this, he's standing. And why? Karma jugupsitena. He has committed a very heinous act. So he was in deep sorrow. What did I do? And now he has been tired. Even though he's a Brahmana, he is tired like an animal. Niriksha Krishna Pakritam Guru Sutam. When Krishna Draupadi saw the son of his guru, of her guru, is brought to her like this, Bama Swabhava Kripayana. Bama Swabhava. Bama Swabhava means Draupadi is very mild and gentle in her behavior. This is a high-grade behavior. Those who are Bama Swabhava. And what did she do? Kripaya Nanam. He offered her obeisances. See, and then started speaking. What did she say? Uvacha sasahantyasya bandhananayanam sati mucyatam esa brahmana nitaram. The first thing she is speaking about the dharma and the principle of religion. She is asking Arjuna, mucyatam. Please release him. Why? Brahmana nitaram. Brahmanas are the guru of all four varnas. And particularly, Dronacharya is your guru, spiritual master. And then the next he is continuing. But in this connection, I want to bring to your attention a very important point that what is the characteristics of a devotee? How a devotee deals the delicate situation. In spite of all this, means even the Ashwatthama had killed the sleeping sons of Draupadi. Draupadi desired that Ashwatthama be at once released. And it was all the same a good sentiment for her. This means that a devotee of the Lord can tolerate all sorts of tribulation personally, but still such devotees are never unkind to others, even to the enemy. These are the characteristics of one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Pure devotee of the Lord is never unkind, even to his enemy. They will tolerate all tribulations, but they will never try to inflict pain, even to their enemy. That is the message we are getting. But Draupadi, she continued speaking. Then first he spoke about dharma. Dharma is Brahmana nitaram guru. Brahmana is guru, so don't kill him. Then Sarahasya dhanurveda savisargopasangama. She is saying to Arjuna, this is nyaya. Nyaya means the justice. Arjuna, do you think it is justified to kill somebody's son who has taught you the science of military arts with all confidential arts? Means Draupadi is saying, Arjuna, you are nowadays glorified in the whole world, being Gandiva, being the career of Gandiva. And the application of the weapons and with their confidential arts, that means you know how to invoke the weapons, to release them. All these confidential arts were taught to you by Dronacharya. How can you forget about it? That means when we are helped by somebody, we know, we learn something from someone, we are not allowed to treat that person in an inimical way. Even though sometimes it looks like he is acting like our enemy. That's a justice. Dharmam, Nyayam, then Nirbyalikam. Sorry, Swakarunam, full of mercy. She is saying, Tasyatmana ardham patnyaste nan nagad birasu kripi. Kripi. The mother of Ashwatthama. Who is she? In the Vedic civilization, wife is taken as the better half of the husband. So that means here Draupadi is saying that Arjuna, even though Dronacharya is dead, but his better half of his body, his wife, is still alive. If you kill his wife, if you kill the son of Dronacharya, then actually you are causing pain to Dronacharya, right? Since Kripi, the wife of Dronacharya, is the better half of Dronacharya, and by killing their son, you are causing pain to your guru. You don't understand this? So you see, even though Draupadi is a woman, still she understands the religious principles very correctly. That's why she is saying, no, how can you be merciless? Show your mercy. Don't kill him. The Nirbyalikam. She is saying, Tad dharmagya mahabhaga bhavadhi gauravam kulam vijinam narhati praptum pujyam bandyam avikshnasaha. O most fortunate one who knows the practice of religion. That means he is saying, Arjuna, you know the religious practice, right? It is not good for you to cause grief to glorious family members who are always respectable and worshipable. How can you cause grief to the family of your spiritual master? You should not do that. Then samam. Marudi rasya janani gautami patidevata jathaham tavat sarta rodimyasu muchi muhu asumukhi muhu. Draupadi is saying, I have lost my sons, that's why I am crying. I don't want to see the wife of our guru cry like the way I am crying. No, that is not good. And that means before inflicting pain to other person, a devotee, he realizes how much painful I am. I should not cause pain to other. Means devotees never take revenge, even against their enemies. Then finally, she is speaking about the glorious quality. Mahat. Jahi kupitam brahma kulam rajanne ajitatmabhi tatkulam pradhatyasu sanubandham sucharpita. Arjuna, do you not know? If you kill the son of a Brahmana, then the Brahmana family, that will enrage the anger of the Brahmana family. And when Brahmana families become upset, then your entire dynasty will suffer the misfortune. So don't do that. So, therefore, then Sutta Goswami says, Dharmam nyayam sa karunam nirbalikam samam mahat Raja Dharma Sutta Rajya Pratyananda Vachod the Goswami is saying to the sages in Naimisharanya that upon hearing these words from Draupadi, which are full of the religious principles, the qualities of religion, then Yudhishthira Maharaj started speaking. And you see, Yudhishthira Maharaj, what did he do? He immediately supported Draupadi. Just see how the entire episode is turning, how it is turning towards not killing to Ashwatthama, right? What did Yudhishthira Maharaj said? Yudhishthira Maharaj said, Naku Patyananda Vachadvija. Actually, he supported Draupadi. He said, what Draupadi is saying is good. We should do that. Means, don't kill Ashwatthama. And then, at that time, Nakula, Sahadev, and others who were present there, they all unanimously agreed. Yes, whatever Yudhishthira Maharaj is saying and Draupadi is saying, that is correct. But except only one person. Bhimasen did not agree. Bhimsen was ready to just kill him immediately. As if he is, just allowed, he would kill him right now. Okay, so only one person, he is saying, kill him, and all other family members, they were supporting and not killing. And Krishna was also before saying, you kill him. Now you see, when Bhima was angry and he wanted to kill him, Nisamya Bhima Gaditam Draupadyascha Chaturbhuja Alakya Badnam Shakya Idamaha Hasanneva. Krishna, sometimes he manifests his forearms. In this pastime, now you can imagine, just you see, such a tense situation. And Draupadi is saying, don't kill him. And Bhima is saying, no, I'll kill him right now. And Draupadi and Nakula, Sahadev, Yudhishthira Maharaj, they are saying, don't kill him. Now, Draupadi is having soft corner. So if Bhimsen wants to kill him, then immediately Draupadi may try to, go to rescue Ashwatthama. This is a very, very critical situation. How can Draupadi protect Ashwatthama from Bhima? That's why Krishna, he manifested two other arms. With two arms, he, kept Bhima away from Ashwatthama, and with the other two hands, he also, protected Draupadi, not to come near Bhima. And after that, while smiling, Krishna started speaking. Now see what Krishna is saying. He is saying, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Brahma Bandhu na hantabhya atatai badharan. One who is Brahma Bandhu, the wretched son of a Brahmana, no hantabhya, he should not be killed. But atatai, even if he is somebody who is born in a Brahmana family, he is atatai, then he should be killed. So here Ashwatthama is Brahma Bandhu and he is atatai. So that means Krishna is saying he should be killed, at the same time he should be, his life should be spared. So how can simultaneously both the things can happen to one person, that you kill him and you rescue him? So Krishna is saying, Mayevo bhayanatam paripayyanusasana. I have said this in the scripture. This is my opinion. Brahma bandhu na hantabhya atatai badharana. So you should kill him, at the same time rescue his life. This is my opinion. Now you decide how you want to do it, execute it. See, Krishna is now putting Arjuna into such a condition. Kuru pratisutam satyam. You had already given your words to Draupadi. You should fulfill that also. And Priyam cha bhimasenasya panchalyascha mahyameva. You, Bhima want to kill him. You also satisfy Bhimsen and satisfy me. You have to keep your words for Draupadi. You have to satisfy Bhimsen, and you should also satisfy me. That means the same thing Krishna is saying, that I don't know how you want to do him. You must kill him, at the same time his life should be protected. So now you decide how you want to do it. So this is what sometimes our devotees are also, facing trouble in Krishna consciousness. They don't know, oh, this is I have to do, that is I have to do. What is this? I don't understand this. Sometimes in some difficult situations, conflicting situations. Huh? So what did Arjuna do? Arjuna understood what Krishna wants. Just then, Arjuna could understand the motive of the Lord by his equivocal orders. And thus, with his sword, he severed both hair and jewel from the head of Ashwatthama. He, Ashwatthama, had already lost his bodily luster due to infanticide, and now, moreover, having lost the jewel from his head, he lost even more strength. Thus, he was unbound and driven out of the camp. As we see in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sambhavitasya chakirti mranat virichyata. How did Arjuna resolve this? Because Arjuna has heard Bhagavad Gita. Krishna had instructed him in Bhagavad Gita. He said, Sambhavitasya chakirti mranat virichyata. Dishonor, for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. So here by by taking the jewel from the head of Ashwatthama and shaving his head and driving him away from home, that is worse than death. At the same time, he remains alive, right? So in that way, Arjuna understood Krishna's opinion and he did the justice. So therefore, those who are students of Bhagavad Gita, especially in our Krishna consciousness movement, they should read Bhagavad Gita thoroughly. Then you will be qualified like Arjuna to take proper decision at proper time. Arjuna, he took the learning from Bhagavad Gita and applied in this connection, and he satisfied Krishna. He executed Krishna's desire properly. Therefore, in this connection, we request all our devotees to read Bhagavad Gita and know the subtle signs of Krishna consciousness so that we can execute our Krishna conscious career properly. Cutting the hair from the head, depriving him of his wealth, and driving him from his residence are the prescribed punishment for the relative of a Brahmana. There is no injunction for killing the body. Then, thereafter, the sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper ritual for the dead bodies of their relatives. Thus end the Bhakti Vedanta purports of the first canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Son of Do Not Waste. Mahaprabhu willing, we will meet next week to continue from chapter 8, where we will be discussing the prayers of Queen Kunti. It is very auspicious that in the month of Kartik, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this wonderful opportunity to hear the prayers of Kunti Maharani and Bhishmadev. So it will continue from the next week. Hope to see you all next week. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Now we can invite questions and comments. Does anybody have